Alright, welcome back to some more Fire Emblem music. I skipped doing a video yesterday, but we're going to make up for that by doing not only both versions of this track today, but I think I'm going to shoot another video afterwards. We'll see if I have time. But I got a great recommendation to check out Funeral of Flowers from Three Houses, and this is a game that I have played. Played it maybe a little bit after it came out, so it's been years. I only played one playthrough. From what I remember, I did do the Black Eagles, if that's the correct name. I did do Edelgard's route. She was my favorite character in the plot at the time, so I went for that. So I probably, like somewhere in the recesses of my memory, this might have played during the game, but it may not have. And either way, I don't think I'm going to recall any of it. But we'll see. I'll confirm when I start playing it if it sounds familiar at all. But I doubt it will. Something about somehow in Three Houses, I just didn't remember any of the music from when I played it, even though I think the game has excellent music. But certain types of games, you just like your focus gets distracted, or the levels and the mixing just like really there's a lot of other sound and sound effects and dialogue going on. That even as somebody very music appreciating, it's interesting how much it can like fade from focus. And I've seen that with other people too. Like there's sometimes I've gone to look at some Let's Plays of Three Houses just to see like people's reaction to being hit by God Shattering Star and the vocals in that track. And just the amount of people who didn't actually notice it was even playing is pretty crazy. Like they're just focused on that final battle and the strategy of it. I personally never got to see a track like that in the game because I didn't do that route. But anyways, so I don't expect to remember it. I'm pretty excited though. From what I know about Three Houses, I think whatever it is, I'm going to enjoy it. At the end, if I like it a lot, I'll see if I add it to a playlist that I have. That's going to be kind of a new activity to do at the end of these videos. I'm just starting to name some playlists, and at some point I'll go back and actually find and create them for myself on YouTube and use them for, background for things like board game sessions, something like that. Like, I'm actually pretty excited for this, so getting some practical application. But anyways, yeah, I don't really have any idea what type of track this is. I got recommended to listen to the Thunder version, but I personally am just so curious about the differences between the version. Like, I just want to hear both, so I'm going to do that. We're going to listen to Thunder first, and then I'm going to check out Rain and see what I think of the differences, see which one I prefer, and see if I have any thoughts about the comparison between the two. Let's see if everything's set up properly. All right, let's get into it. I was thinking this was just a little intro, but it might be more of it. All right, I'm going to consider that one section before it goes into the octaves here in the right hand. Yeah, for about 37, 38 seconds. Obviously, it's gorgeous. Honestly, my life obsession is solo piano music, so I'm happy to hear any of it, really. I just think it's inherently beautiful. As far as stylistically, it is interesting. Maybe to be expected because it's in line with a lot of game music and Fire Emblem, that it kind of straddles this line between kind of neoclassical, like very traditionally inspired in terms of like the composition style, drawing upon what's been so beautiful in the classical space. Again, looking back to anything from early to late Romanticism, which is, I'm personally a huge fan of late Romanticism. Anything that sounds like Rachmaninoff or Medtner or Scriabin is going to be something I really love. So it has like some elements of that right next to moments where it really draws upon a more modern, more contemporary sense of harmony, and in a way that to me, funnily enough, I actually like very much associate with and identify with like Japanese role-playing games and their music. Like some of it's related to like modern contemporary piano. Some of it's related to the way piano is used in other contemporary music, like pop or rock music. But like I just see it so commonly used in the JRPG space that to me it's like I almost identify it more with that than anything else. It's this like taking this classical style of instrumental writing and piano writing and just shifting the way the harmonies are done into something that's a little bit more contemporary. But in pieces like this, it's interesting that even from like one harmony to the next, from one arpeggio to the next, it's like choosing a little differently which of these kind of eras it's drawing on. I'll see if I can find an example of this. And again, I maybe sometime I'll have a setup where I actually have an easier time like using the piano and trying to find things. I'm not great at like picking out harmonies and whole pieces of music on the fly. I can definitely do it, but under pressure, I'm not that fast with it. Although maybe I'll get better. But for example, yeah, I was going to say there was a particular arpeggio I really liked. It's this one. I missed it. It just has a little bit of a different sound than I was expecting. I really like that one. That one in particular. There's just a little glimmer of sunlight in it that you're not quite expecting from what the typical like arpeggiation of the harmony they're on right there would be. And I don't even necessarily know if I would call that something more contemporary or not. To be honest, I think someone like Rachmaninoff would, you know, have those kinds of slightly interesting changes in some of the notes in the arpeggio in something like his second concerto. And I really like it. But yeah, it feels like almost sometimes every arpeggio, it's like shifting styles a little bit. It's not completely locked into one idiom, I would say. But yeah, I love the fact that it's just a solo piano texture. I love that it's just these arpeggios. The harmonic movement, like with the bass, is pretty satisfying. It'd probably be fun to play. It's very like reasonable. It's not like pushing human boundaries just for the sake of like the fact that it could be digitally composed. Like this is very much just somebody wrote what they were able to play. I think in particular when it changes to these single note patterns on the right hand, right here, I do really love this melody a lot. It just has like, I don't know, just when it's those individual notes, I'm personally like a really big fan of allowing notes to sing out on their own. I feel that both with right hand octaves for melodies, I don't prefer that as much as just a wonderful bell-like sound of a single note. But even more so, I'm very opinionated about that with bass lines, to the degree where like I will play, if a piece has octaves in the deep bass on the piano on the left hand, I actually almost exclusively prefer, unless it's not really a full climax sort of moment or a moment that benefits, but I almost always choose to play that as a single note on the lowest bass note. I just, to me, almost like spreading it between two notes almost like robs it of its individual sonority. Like it's got a more focused point when it's a single note. So when it shifts from this sort of octave melody to these individual notes, it not only to me like sounds clearer and more beautiful, but it also like something about the way this melody is written has like a little bit of a bouncing like rhythm back and forth. Not back and forth like metrically, but I don't know, something about it feels rhythmic in a way that's kind of addictive. I don't know, I just think that melodic section is really addictive. Then it goes again while the rest of the texture is thickening a little bit. Beautiful low notes. changes the rhythm of the arpeggio, just kind of finishes, and then it has some empty space here. Finishes and lets the right hand be alone. Yes, okay, hell yeah. All right, now we're talking. Oh shit, all right. I don't want this video to take an hour, but it won't. I'll try not to take that long, but oh my god. Yeah, this is where it's at. I love this. What can I even say about it? I have to listen to it once or twice more. What is this bass? These bass octaves remind me of. There's some Chopin that's coming to mind, but I don't know. There's something that's almost like one-to-one, an example I have, but I can't pull it right now. Damn, I wish I could remember what piece it is, because I would love to, someday I want to make more videos that are like some unexpected moments in game music that really have a super direct inspiration, which I don't think is a problem. I think that's amazing. We should draw from wonderful music. But sometimes it's really entertaining, like, to see this connection. Oh man, it's like right on the tip of my brain. It's so right there. Maybe if I remember it later, I'll post in the comments or pin a comment. It's right here. Oh man, there's a moment there that I swear is almost a direct quotation of something, and I really wish I knew what it was, because I love the fact that it sounds that familiar. But then it turns into this very bright arpeggio not out of nowhere, but it shifts mood suddenly from that heavy darkness, and I really appreciate that. Right here. I love the softness of the bass arpeggio they brought in there. They really lowered the volume on it. Totally different style of the arpeggio again, a different structure that repeats the top note. Another different approach to these right-hand shapes. Okay, I have to hear this part again. Sometimes I wish that I could hear pieces like this just on a little bit of a different piano sound. This is like definitely it is a full, great grand piano sound and what people really expect, but I just know it could sound even better on just a rich, beautiful piano sample or acoustic recording. This is more of a grand piano approach than sometimes pieces are given the chance to use, so it's already pretty far towards as beautiful as it could be, but piano sound can get even more beautiful, just richer, and there's just there's a lot of brightness to the treble in this kind of piano sample, and I just would love to hear it with something even more, just let this music shine completely when it's at like 90% of like how it could sound. But I guess that's why you want somebody to, cover it and get that sound. There's room for people to bring something to it by playing it. Man, what a great figuration. What a great figuration. That would be so fun to play. It has a little bit of a scale up, and then it goes between the higher and lower notes reachable by the hand, but it has a little bit of extra added in as well while it's doing that. Actually, one piece I composed does that exact thing in a moment with a bit of ornamentation. It goes between the top two fingers and the bottom two fingers as it goes down in a section. So I've written like that exact same sort of ornamental idea, and I really like it. It's very satisfying to play. It sounds good. There's a Chopin mazurka that's really famous. It might be 33-4. the A minor one that's best known, that has a little ornament that's the same thing. Just goes between the bottom and top of the hand as it goes down briefly. It's used in a very subtle way, but it's one of the less common but more fun ways to have these ornamental sections. It's like, I don't know what you want to call it. It's almost like a form of a run or something. It's not literally an ornament, but it's also not literally an arpeggio. But I think that's part of what makes that shape fun, is because it's not completely clear exactly what it is or what purpose it needs to serve. All that's really obvious is that it fits the hand a lot of the times and it feels good to do. And to me, the motion of playing an instrument feeling good to your body and to your hands and fingers is actually a lot of what music is, in my opinion. So I love it leads in with a scale into that shape, but it's not always uniform, whether or not it has more notes on the upper or lower end. Sometimes it changes the number of them, so it feels just a little bit irregular, instead of seeming like this exact pattern. Anyways, I wanted to give attention to how great this bit is. Like, I would be happy if like I came up with that for a section of a piece. I love going to the major there. Oh shit. I love that chord choice. Interesting. This like harmonic pattern of just these past few chords it had, just like straight minor into straight major into something a little more interesting. It's like it both is unsurprising and surprising at the same time. I love that chord so much. I love that one. It's so good. That was interesting. Just go up a whole step or something in the harmony? I'm not sure. Energized it. Really using the full piano sound. Oh, okay. Stunning. I wonder if those are octaves with both hands? It sounds like that technique, but I'm not sure if it sounds like it has that many notes included in it. So it could just be like sort of a moving tremolo octave in one hand. I'm not positive. I think it drops the rest of the texture, so it could be both hands, which again would be a little more standard, something you'd hear in a lot of Liszt. But this whole section just bringing in these gorgeous melodic patterns, possibly building on the previous ones in the piece. But introducing that chromaticism, introducing these like notes, half steps between others. I'm just a big fan of that. I think music benefits a lot when you start getting, building in at least some chromaticism. I don't know, there's some people who feel it can be almost cliched or overused in things like Rachmaninoff or Scriabin, but to me it's like part of the essence of music. I think it should be there. I think it just sounds incredible. It adds this feeling of complexity and richness, and it's stimulating, and it just sounds great. It adds more potential for harmonization. And this section is absolutely gorgeous and definitely my favorite thing in this piece so far. Let's see when it begins. It starts in a moment, right here. Yeah, I think that is with both hands. But I just love the chromaticism introduced in the melody for a few bars. That sounded really good. Oh man. Just that note right there, hitting the high and the low at the same time. Right there, there's like a sharpness to it that just sounded really good. Oh, that was surprising. That was an interesting choice. I'll go back to this. Huh. That was unusual. It almost has like an improvisatory nature of those scales and ornaments. Like I do a lot of classical style improvisation. It's one of my favorite things to do. Honestly, it's a lot of what I do at the piano when I'm not writing or playing existing pieces of music, which I also love and think are it's a really wonderful experience to play, have a hand in experiencing what it's like to play masterpieces with your own hands. And figure out how you want to interpret them and what they sound like to you and your artistic perspective on it. But I really do spend a lot of my time improvising in a kind of classical style, which involves a lot of like, you know, whatever technique you have. I'm not the most incredible technician at the piano, but I'm okay. Is like just being creative and using these techniques and blending them together when you can. And there is something that feels almost like classically improvisatory about this section with all these runs at the end. It's very satisfying. I love the use of the trill. I think it's a great like continuation of that shape. It has a trill in the middle and then it continues with more runs and a couple other shapes. I want to hear it again. Good chord. And then it sounds like it's starting over. Definitely. Yeah, well, I can tell why this got recommended. I mean, it's just a solo piano piece. It's beautiful. I think it's got to be up there as one of the better solo piano things I've ever heard on a game soundtrack. Absolutely. I think what I said at the very beginning holds true the whole way through, where it really has this strong blend of that contemporary JRPG, beautiful piano instrumental approach, but with those sort of contemporary, more contemporary harmonic choices, and then a blend of that with stuff that it feels very directly inspired by somewhere in the Romantic era of piano composition. Again, my favorite stuff. It really like draws upon both of those pretty strongly. There's definitely moments of like really fun figurations or ornamentation or runs that are creative and really satisfying to me. It's clearly a totally playable piece that somebody could learn or transcribe or find music for, and I think it would be really fun to play. Yeah, I think some of the melodies are pretty memorable. I pointed out one of them near the beginning that I really enjoyed. And yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is something that I would want to put on this playlist. Let's try this real quick. I haven't done this before. So here's a chart I'm starting. I am going to, unsurprisingly, put this on the Dramatic Classical Game Music playlist, which might come in handy. Funeral of Flowers, Thunder. Let's see, I don't have room yet. Let's expand this. Okay, hopefully this worked on the recording, but that's my playlist so far. I'm going to add whatever playlist I think of. Currently, I kind of have the feel of like anything that feels like I could chill with it in the background and would feel kind of nostalgic, like game music. Like, you know, these aren't all the most relaxing tracks, but they're like, because they sound so retro, they're cool just to have in the background to relax. And then things that are a little more intense and a little more classical inspired. But yeah, I mean, I might find things every now and then I don't bother to add. Making the playlist is kind of like me saying I really liked it. Clearly, it's something I'd like to go back to and listen again to, and I plan to when I make these playlists. Like I didn't add one of the 3 Fire Emblem 4 pieces, which is great, but I didn't see it being something I'd go back to and listen to on a playlist. But 2 of the 3 I did, because I really did like all the music I listened to on that. Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be critical about anything on this, not critical so much, would be like, there's so much I loved, and if there's some things that are like not as perfect for me and my taste, I think there's some style in the more contemporary usage of piano like this that um, I was talking about the octaves a bit, but honestly, it doesn't bother me. I just have a personal choice, a little bit of a personal leaning towards changing a lot of octaves to a single note. But a lot of the octaves did contribute, especially in the bass, to like a richer sound overall. And I thought sometimes that really created the atmosphere that this piece wanted. So I don't think I would even change a lot of them. Probably the only thing that like I would specifically want to do differently, other than I mentioned, like I'd love to hear this in like the most beautiful, rich piano sound. Um, is some there's a style like very quick arpeggiation of chords in the right hand that just get kind of thrown very quickly and are just an alternative to just playing the chord. For me personally, I do add optional arpeggiation to things how I interpret them or play them, but I do it in a different way. I usually do it more controlled, or um, I try to have it more line up with the. I like to have something that I choose to arpeggiate in the right hand. I like to have the final note of it line up with the first beat of the measure or beat that it's on, and that aligns with the bass note and kind of creates like that impact moment on the new beat. Uh, I could demonstrate that sometime, but the idea is that I have like a very specific intention, even though I do create my own arpeggiations that aren't always written. But I like it a certain way. I'm pretty picky. And those sorts of just doing a very fast arpeggiation instead of just playing a chord, um, just as an option, it's just sort of a one-to-one replacement that can happen in more contemporary piano playing. To me, it doesn't create the most beautiful sound. I would rather hear the chord on its own or a different approach or purpose taken with that arpeggiation. But that's really just a taste thing, because it is seen and heard a lot. So it's something that clearly serves a lot of artistic purpose and sounds good to a lot of people who both use it and like listening to it. Um, and I think one of the fun things about enjoying music, and that I like about it, is that I do have very strong artistic and musical philosophies. Like, I have a very personal approach to music. I've learned a lot of it primarily myself in my own exploration of the instrument and the repertoire. So, in every space, even in individual recordings or pieces of music by, classical composers, I have my own reactions sometimes of things that I just personally, don't have fitting to my tastes. And it's an entirely subjective world where, for example, I just don't like Brahms. I just don't. I feel like I'm listening to somebody like, you know, say words in English, but they're not making sense in any sentences. Like, I'm not being able to really follow the plot, the sort of approach of like the melodic shapes and the forward motion is just not lining up for me. But like, I love that Brahms exists and that so many people like get so much out of it. It's a very subjective world, and down to like very microscopic details, I find it very fun to have like a very intense and opinionated experience of things, and getting that kind of compass of whether like this lines up with your taste or not. But at the same time, with the respect that it's all completely subjective, and I think it's fun that other people can have a polar opposite opinion to me about things all the way from the very microscopic to macroscopic scale about music and how it should be played or sound or like shaped. And these preferences. I think it's our individual, very intense preferences that are what makes life beautiful, and especially what makes music and art beautiful. It's a pretty long disclaimer to just say like I'm picky about arpeggiation and where and when, but I will take any excuse to talk about things like that. But yeah, I want to go through the Rain one pretty quickly. I know this is probably like 30 minutes already. Not too worried about it. People either enjoy it or not. It's totally fine. I have fun talking about it. But because I'm very curious, I do really want to check out Rain and see what it is. I'm going to assume it's going to be not a piano solo version, possibly very different with the same melodies. From what I remember, actually, let me switch to it first before I start talking about what this difference might be. Let's go back to everything. This is my face. Hello. My bigger face. And let me look up the Rain version. There it is. Oh, okay, that was obviously not solo piano. That's obviously not solo piano. All right, let's go back. All right, here we are. So this is the Rain version, and I'm not going to change the title. We'll leave it. But my intro to this is that I think, from what I recall, the Rain and Thunder version switch when you're in combat, and I think the Rain one might be the one that happens overall on the map you're playing on. And I think Thunder might be when you're actually fighting, and they might switch between them. Somebody's welcome to correct me or explain it a little bit better. But that's what I remember. So I'm expecting this to be what would be playing overall while you're on the map. And clearly it's not solo piano. But yeah, I'll try to pause a little less and kind of listen through now that I've heard the corollary piece. And then I'll think about which one I like or what the differences are. But yeah, let's go. Okay, this does sound familiar to the Thunder version. I can almost hear the arpeggios. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, I cannot help but want to play these side by side. I can't resist it. I have to do this. I feel like they're almost meant to be, like, again, like that piano concerto sound. Like, I can't believe maybe somebody's already made this, but I'm going to try to play them in sync real quick. So bear with me. If this works, it'll be really fun, and I think it's going to sound really good. So I need to go to Funeral of Flowers, Thunder, and back to what we had here. And how am I going to sync these up? Let's see. I'll try to line up on that second chord. So let me get this one playing. I'll switch back to this. Okay, I'm going to get it right before that, and I'll start playing this one to line up on the chord 2. Okay, and now I'm going to play this. There we go. Sounds amazing. Lowering the orchestra sound. Hear how good that sounds. Oh my god. The tempo's difference is like getting to it now, but oh man, it's hard not to want to just listen to it all like that. I bet somebody's done that. I bet somebody's put it together. If anybody knows about a video track that combines them, overlays them like that really well, please let me know. I would love to listen to that or put on my playlist. Yeah, holy shit, that was really good. That worked way better than I thought it would. Hopefully that was fun for people. Yeah, it just sounds right to me. It sounds like there's plenty of room to have a piano combined with this, and that they could easily be playing together and be better for it. Wow, what a blast. Anyways, but I'll keep listening to this version with its different instrumentation. It's bringing the same melodies. It's yeah, pretty one-to-one, as that test kind of showed. So basically then I'm just going to listen through and see how I like the instrumentation in this version. But it is hard to not hear it as, like, it should be together. I forget what this... I guess it might just be violin. Almost sounds like an erhu or a different instrument. Damn. Okay. Oh, that sounds so good. Holy shit. Okay. What I will say is I think in some ways it makes me feel like the piece was composed for the Rain version first, and then has a piano reduction, a piano transcription score made after the fact. Some things about the structure and the harmony, just some of it hits as just making so much more sense in this Rain version. I wouldn't have thought that with Thunder. I thought that sounded like a piece done on its own for piano, but seeing both, I do feel like it must have been composed for this, and then a piano version was created, because it just makes so much sense. The flow of it musically, like, just, I don't know, it kind of all comes together as a concept. I still think that it sounds best combined, and I still would love to have that version most, but something, I wasn't expecting it, especially based on the initial section, which just sounded like, okay, this is fine, but it's almost like background music compared to the piano being like the foreground. But as it progressed, it was like, okay, not only does this make more sense, but it really reminds me of other orchestrations of piano pieces. For example, there's like suites of Debussy piano orchestrations with pieces like Clair de Lune. Or there's like Chopin mazurkas and waltzes done for orchestra. There's a lot of really interesting orchestrations, and it comes in for like, well, what instruments do you use? How do you want to change these colors? Like, how do you want to express it? What do you picture and feel when you hear that piano music? And how do you think it should be expressed with the options of all the forces of an orchestra? And sometimes you can bring a bunch of color in, but a lot of times it's just a matter of like, well, what does it feel like on the piano? What does the piano seem to be suggesting? This melody feels like a woodwind melody, or it feels like a strings melody. This bit here, these chords really feel like brass. They feel like horns. Sometimes you just know that, and then there can be an orchestration of a piano solo piece that just goes, oh, this is like, I feel like I'm just hearing the same piece of music, but I'm almost hearing more directly what I'm picturing in my mind anyways when I hear the piano. So that art of like orchestral piano transcriptions is also something that comes up in my mind a lot when I hear this. It's just like, okay, this is in that vein, but it's funny that comes up, which would be the piano music is the first thing, and then this follows, and it reminds me of that art. But at the same time, I've mentioned or talked about how it sounds like this came first. So it's interesting that I'm getting impressions that come from both directions. But just getting in this section, it's so beautiful, and oh god, that sweep down from that high note in the melody is so stunning. I really didn't think I would be saying anything sounded better than the piano for this, just because I'm such a piano head. But it's so beautiful. Like, this is really a great orchestration. With those slides, it's just so stunning. And there's some of the parts with choir, and I think they actually work. A little bit of that like epic score music effect, which isn't always my favorite, but I think it works here. Right, there's that piano figuration. You know, was there piano there? Was there ascending octaves here? It's interesting, it used that piano figuration we talked about before with the upper and lower parts of the hand. And there it feels like it would have been composed on the piano first and made to work in this orchestration. But it is fair to say both can be true. This can be a piece that, like most composers, was worked out at a keyboard first. And there could be some shapes that are keyboard driven in their design, but not all the way to having composed it as a full piano piece first, right? There can be a initial like composing at a keyboard, and sometimes, especially with digital composition as an option now, sometimes that means not having to lean entirely on the capabilities of individual instruments in the orchestra, but being able to use digital samples, which means you can even more directly compose music based on keyboard work, because you don't have to then go, well, I'm at the keyboard to compose, but like, what can this instrument actually do? It takes mastery of the orchestra, something I don't have. And digital tools allow you to even more so compose from the keyboard, even for an orchestra. So you can do a little bit there, design the shapes and the phrases, then orchestrate the real piece, and then make a piano transcription later, which I think is kind of what happened here. Yeah, there was definitely piano there, definitely rising piano octaves that were not in the Thunder piece. So maybe that's a reason not to overlay the two, because it does have some of its own. You barely hear them for a moment, but... Interesting kind of like synthy drums or percussion. It's got that heartbeat again. And there's the step up in harmony that we heard in the Thunder. Really energizes everything. My favorite melodic part. Oh my god, I actually got chills. It's my first time doing a music reaction, getting some goosebumps. Like I felt it a little bit through my arms, but then the chills like hit the most kind of in the top back of my head. Oh man, still have to shake them out a little bit. Oh my god. That was hitting. Not only is that my favorite, that kind of chromatic element to the melody that I brought in from the Thunder version that I talked about, but it started to it has this very like piano and violin texture here, which is just gorgeous. I really love the instrumental choices in this section. Really elevates it, and then it just starts to this whole section just evolves into this incredible piano concerto sound. And I'm really not missing anything. Like, that's a moment that I would be happy to hear in any piano concerto. Like, I'm a fan of, like, exactly what that is. God, that sounded so good. I didn't realize I would like anything in the Rain version that great. It's really surprising me overall. But this part is, like, that, 10 seconds in particular here that I like the best. It was, like, an achievement to compose. Yeah, Bings rings in these piano and strings. It really sounds like a concerto. God, everything just really comes to a peak there. And it has those descending piano octaves in the bass. I wish they could be even louder. And just the clarity of this melodic line. So bold. And kind of the epic percussion in the choir, like it works here, but it is sometimes a bit overused. Like I would almost prefer to hear this part would just drop that epic percussion entirely. It doesn't even need it. Although I like that hit a lot. This has a lot of personality. Feels so rhythmic with the choir, which is kind of a rare combination. God, the kind of like... Oh, one sec, alarm. The kind of, there's almost something that's like kind of violent about this sort of violin melody. Go back. Like clearly this whole part is epic and climactic and violent, but like there's something about that violin usage in specific. And if you'll humor me, before I finish this, I am going to actually look up. There's a great example of a violin melody that sounds just like this part. There's something about like the aggressiveness of the playing, the sort of bitingness, the sharpness, like it's like going for the opposite of beauty in a way. I mean, it's its own form of beauty, but there's something from the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth soundtrack. And and I need to find what this track is named. I never remember it. Let's see if I can find this. I believe there was a reaction video that used it. Okay, let's see. It is called Queen's Blood Prodigious Pedigree. Let me switch to it real quick because I want to just show what I'm talking about. This is such one of my favorite tracks in the game. It's so good. Starts some piano. But it just has like such an aggressive violin. I highly recommend listening to this track. It's called Prodigious Pedigree. Just gonna let it play for a moment because it's so good. I mean, it's way more ornamented, of course, but... I can't stop listening to it, so we're just gonna listen. Anyways, it's an incredible piece of music. And yeah, the violin at the end of that really reminded me of it. It really did. I go back to it just to close this out. And okay, I think I need to add a new category here. I am going to do game music, solo piano. And then I'm going to add Rain here because I did like it so much. I am going to listen to that again. Both of them. And maybe I can add a combined version if anybody knows it, that there's a video with that, or maybe I'll look for it myself. But this is going to be the outro. Yeah, I'm glad I listened to both. They both had a lot of things I really appreciated and found valuable about both. Long video, but hopefully it's interesting. Yeah, God, there were some amazing moments in this. I definitely don't remember any of this music from the game, which I'm not surprised by for reasons I talked about before. Like, not at all surprised if I don't remember much of it. And I'm glad I didn't, because it was fun to have it be this fresh. Yeah, fantastic tracks from the soundtrack. Yeah, I feel like I've pretty much said so much in the reaction already. I don't need too much of an outro, but you can see I've thrown it on my playlist. And yeah, if you have any other requests or suggestions to check out, be it a few tracks from a game or one individual thing somewhere, please drop a comment and I will check it out and I'll give some honest thoughts. Yeah, I'm pretty positive about game music just because I like it in general, but at the same time, I try to be honest about what things are or aren't my taste. And yeah, usually I have a positive spin, but you're definitely getting my genuine reaction and my genuine opinion based on the experience and the particular preferences that I have. And yeah, everything I feel like going back and listening to again is what ends up on this playlist. So it can be clear to everybody what I actually want to go back to. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next music reaction analysis.